Hello everyone, this is Shubham. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to talk about the rheumatoid arthritis. So if we talk about rheumatoid arthritis, we study this topic in the rheumatology. Rheumatoid arthritis is actually a chronic autoimmune disorder. So it is a chronic autoimmune disorder which usually affects the small joints. Okay, so it mainly affects the small joints. Okay, now what are actually small joints? Which kind of joints are small, which kind of joints are bigger one? Now like bigger joints are shoulder joint, hip joint, knee joint. Okay, these are the bigger joints. But if you talk about the rheumatoid arthritis, they are actually involving the smaller joints. Okay, now if you talk about the smaller joints, for an example, what? Proximal interphalangeal joint, right? Wrist joint, metacarpophalangeal joint. Okay, but it does not involve distal interphalangeal joint. Okay, distal interphalangeal joint, that is the characteristic of osteoarthritis. Okay, but mainly they are involving the small joints, rheumatoid arthritis. So it is more common in females. Fine. Mainly it affects the adults. Okay, which age group? Somewhere around 30 to 50 years of age. Okay, they are more susceptible for this one, right? What is the risk factor? Risk factor: smoking. Okay, so risk factor is the smoking. Etiological factor, if you will be asking, then it can be environmental factors, it can be genetic factors, but one of those will be the gene affection, that is the HLA-DR1 and HLA-DR4. okay, these two genes can be affected. For example, in ankylosing spondylitis we study about the HLA-B27 gene involvement. Over here we are talking about the HLA-DR1 and HLA-DR4 gene involvement. Okay, so these are the genes which are involved over here in the rheumatoid arthritis. Okay, now if you talk about the presentation part, that is very important over here to talk about. So if you talk about the presentation part, okay, I told you that it is affecting the smaller joints. Okay, so starting with that, in the PIP and the metacarpophalangeal joint, some kind of deformities can be seen. Okay, and usually the bilateral symmetrical involvement is there. Okay, so it is affecting the joints bilaterally, that too symmetrical. Okay, bilaterally and symmetrical. Fine. Now we are having some special names for some of the deformities. Okay, for an example, we are having swan neck deformity, which is seen in rheumatoid arthritis. Then we are having Botnier deformity, that is seen in Botnier deformity, that is also seen in rheumatoid arthritis. It is also called as buttonhole because it looks like buttonhole. Okay, buttonhole deformity, right? Now there is one more deformity, that is Z-line deformity. Some other extra articular manifestations. So these are the articular manifestations, means like joint manifestations. Other than joint, what can be the problems? For an example, so I am talking about the extra articular manifestations now. Extra articular manifestation, that will be nodules, subcutaneous nodules, or we also call them as rheumatoid nodules. Because of those nodules, extra articular manifestation will be coming. For an example, if these nodules are occurring in skin, we are calling them as subcutaneous nodules. If these nodules are occurring in lungs, we will be calling them as pulmonary nodules. Okay, so they will be causing the lung problems. Okay, they might cause the problems in the heart. Along with that, in the hematological section, there can be the involvement of anemia, and that is the normochromic anemia or anemia of chronic disease. Okay, or anemia of chronic disease, right? Usually these people will be having difficulty in holding some kind of things because of the stiffness in these joints. Okay, so difficulty in holding the objects, you can say. Along with that, weight loss can be seen. Okay, now I'll be showing you the images of this one. So first of all, let's look over this one. In the Botnier deformity, what happens is, look, first of all, let me tell you, this is the distal interphalangeal joint, and this one over here is the proximal interphalangeal joint. Okay, in the proximal interphalangeal joint, if you talk about the Botnier one, okay, you can see the flexion. You can see over here flexion is happening. Okay, flexion means angle is decreasing, right? Whereas over here you can see the extension. Okay, so what you can see? Extension. Opposite thing will be happening in the swan neck deformity. Okay, in the PIP you can see extension. Okay, what you can see is extension, and over here you can see is flexion. So this is about the Botnier deformity and the swan neck deformity. Okay, next thing we are having the Z line deformity. In the Z line you can see easily that in the interphalangeal joint there is flexion, then in the metacarpophalangeal joint there is hyperextension. Okay, and then there is again flexion in the metacarpophalangeal joint. Okay, so this is what, this is Z line deformity. This is Z line deformity. Okay, and this picture you can see, this is the nodules. These are the nodules. For example, this one, this is the subcutaneous nodules. Okay, these are the subcutaneous nodules. This is how you may diagnose the rheumatoid arthritis. Okay, so for the diagnosis we can actually rely on the rheumatoid factor, but the problem is that it can be seen biologically false in some of the population. Okay, in 5% of the population it can be seen the biologically false. So however, it is most sensitive, but it is not specific. Okay, then we came to know about the other test. So this one is finding the antibody. So this is the anticyclic citrulline peptide antibody. Okay, or in short we are calling that as anti-CCP antibody. Anti-CCP antibody. Okay, so these two you need to remember. First, rheumatoid factor, and second one is anti-CCP antibody. Okay, now remember that anti-CCP antibody is most specific. Okay, so if they are asking more specific, then it is anti-CCP antibody. Okay, in fact, if they are asking about the diagnostic for the rheumatoid arthritis, then you need to go for the anti-CCP antibody. Fine. Okay, if you talk about the treatment part, in the treatment we will be going for the DMARD. Okay, and what is DMARD? DMARD is actually disease modifying anti-rheumatic drugs. Okay, so we will be going for the DMARDs, right? What is DMARD? Disease modifying anti-rheumatic drugs. Okay, anti-rheumatic drugs. Okay, which DMARD I am talking about? For an example, you can go for methotrexate. Okay, this can be used as DMARD. Okay, after that we can go for the other drugs. For example, we are using one special thing that is the triple therapy. Okay, over here we are using the triple therapy, and triple therapy, what does that mean? It means we will be using three kind of drugs. Okay, and what are these three drugs now? These three drugs are actually, one is methotrexate. Okay, sulfasalazine, second one is sulfasalazine, and hydroxychloroquine. Okay, but remember we are not using the NSAIDs over here. Fine. So this is the triple therapy in which these three drugs we are using as a triple therapy in our rheumatoid arthritis patient. Okay, along with that some other drugs can be used. For an example, infliximab can be given. Okay, for example, what you can give? Infliximab. Okay, or we can give rituximab. Okay, or abatacept. Okay, these can be given to the patient. Okay, however, you need to remember what? You need to remember as methotrexate and the triple drug therapy. Okay, triple drug therapy. So these two will play a key role in the treatment of the patient with the rheumatoid arthritis. Now let's move on to the MCQ section and let's see how the question will be presenting in front of you as far as rheumatoid arthritis is concerned. So let's talk about the first MCQ. A 36-year-old woman presents to a physician clinic with pain and swelling in the hands and the wrist. She reports morning stiffness. Okay, last for approximately 1 hour. I told you that morning stiffness will be seen, and the patients actually will be able to will not be able to hold anything. Okay, so difficulty in the gripping, so which lasts for approximately 1 hour, which later improves. Okay, so she also states to be experiencing symptoms of depression and fatigue. Physical examination shows that decreasing grip strength and 4/5 strength on the wrist extension. I told you affection of small joints, tenderness to the palpation and swelling of the proximal interphalangeal joint and the metacarpophalangeal joint. So proximal interphalangeal joint, that is PIP, metacarpophalangeal joint, that is MCP. What is your diagnosis? Absolutely, that will be the rheumatoid arthritis. Okay, so diagnosis over here will be the rheumatoid arthritis. Fine. Okay, now let's move on to the next one. Okay, next one is 35-year-old woman present with the joint stiffness. Okay, pain of hands and the wrist for the last 2 months. Symptoms are more severe in the morning and improve in the afternoon. Okay, unintentional loss of 15 pounds. So weight loss will be seen in the patient's in the course of 3 months, as well as fatigue is there. Physical examination shows swelling and tenderness at the metacarpophalangeal and the proximal interphalangeal joint. Again, what is the diagnosis? Yes, rheumatoid arthritis. Fine. So this is the language of the question, okay, which you might come across as far as rheumatoid arthritis is concerned. Let's look over the MCQ. So okay, a 45-year-old woman presents to the rheumatology OPD clinic with 3 months history of stiff hands and wrist. Mention about the pain is particularly bad in the morning. Okay, examination of the wrist shows that MCP joint, that is metacarpophalangeal joint, and the proximal interphalangeal joints, PIP joints, are swollen and warm. Diagnosis of rheumatoid arthritis is made, is suspected. So which of the following most specific, they're asking you, most specific for confirming the diagnosis. So guys, I told you most sensitive and specific. Okay, so you must know which one is sensitive, which one is specific. I told you more sensitive is rheumatoid factor, more specific is anti-CCP. So what will be the answer over here? Yeah, no problem in that. That will be absolutely anti-CCP antibody. Okay, anti-CCP antibody, anti-CCP label, which means anti-cyclic citrulline peptide antibody. Okay, fine. Now let's move on to the next one. So they are saying 50-year-old woman received a recent diagnosis of rheumatoid arthritis and presents to her GP with ongoing pain and stiffness in her hands and feet. Which joints are usually spared? Spared means not involved. Which joints are usually spared at the onset of rheumatoid arthritis? So I told you proximal interphalangeal joints were involved. Yes, I told you wrist joint was involved, metacarpophalangeal joint were involved, but distal interphalangeal joints, I told you in the osteoarthritis. When I will be talking about the osteoarthritis, I will be discussing about osteoarthritis about this joint over there. Okay, but rheumatoid arthritis, we do not see usually the distal interphalangeal joint. We are usually come across with the proximal interphalangeal joint, metacarpophalangeal joint, and the wrist joint. Okay, so what will be the answer over here? Distal interphalangeal joints over here. Okay, so that was the second MCQ. Okay, so I hope you like the discussion for the rheumatoid arthritis. Okay, let me know your views in the comment section below. Please share it with your friends and make sure you subscribe my channel. And if you like the video, please hit the like button. Thank you so much.